Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by mountains, there lived a young man named Marco. He was 24 years old, full of energy, yet never at peace. His mind was always busy, filled with thoughts of yesterday and fears of tomorrow. Every day he tried to smile, but inside he felt tired, heavy, and lost. His mind was like a storm that would not stop. One morning, while sitting under a tree, Marco overheard travelers talking about a wise old man who lived deep in the hills. They said he had once been a great psychologist in the city who helped people find peace within themselves. Now he lived quietly, far from noise, sharing his wisdom only with those truly seeking calm. Something inside Marco awakened. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Maybe, he thought, this man can help me find peace. The next day, he began his journey through winding paths and cold nights, climbing until he reached a small house covered in green vines. On the porch sat an old man with closed eyes and a calm face. Marco approached and said softly, "Grandfather, my mind is restless. I cannot stop thinking. Can you help me find peace?" The old man opened his eyes, smiled kindly, and said, "So, you are looking for peace? Then come with me. I will give you a small task." And with those words, Marco's true journey began, a journey not through mountains, but through the silence of his own mind. The old man stood slowly and walked toward a small table near his porch. On it sat a clear glass. He filled it with water, not halfway, but completely to the top. The surface trembled, ready to spill at the smallest touch. He turned to Marco, placed the glass carefully in his hands, and said in a calm voice, "Walk from here to the end of the village, and then come back. But remember, you must not spill even a single drop of water." Marco looked at the glass in surprise. It seemed simple, yet impossible. Still, he nodded and began his walk. The road was narrow and filled with people. Some were selling fruits, some shouting prices, children running around, dogs barking, and carts rolling through the dust. But Marco did not look at any of them. His eyes stayed fixed on the glass, his hands steady, his breath slow. Each step became an act of care, a small prayer of attention. People stared, whispering among themselves, but no one dared to stop him. They could feel something sacred in the quiet determination of the young man. After what felt like a long time, Marco finally returned to the old man's porch. His hands were shaking slightly, but the glass was still full. Not a single drop had fallen. "Grandfather," he said with a faint smile, "I did it. I did not spill a drop." The old man nodded gently, his eyes kind. "Good," he said. "But tell me, did you see the children playing on the side of the road?" Marco frowned. "No." "Oh, did you hear the dogs barking, or the voices of the shopkeepers calling their customers?" Marco shook his head. "No, I didn't notice anything. I was only looking at the glass." The old man smiled again, his face glowing with quiet wisdom. "That," he said softly, "is the secret you have been searching for. When your mind lives in the present moment, there is no room for fear, confusion, or sorrow. You were not lost in yesterday, nor afraid of tomorrow. You were here, completely here, always." Marco stood still, his heart silent for the first time in years. He realized that peace was not something to be found outside. It was something that grew inside, when the mind finally stopped running. In that moment, Marco truly understood what it meant to be calm. As the old man's words settled in his heart, Marco finally understood the secret he had been searching for. Peace was never something to be found in distant places or learned from someone else. It was always within him, hidden beneath layers of fear, regret, and restless thoughts. When his mind stayed in the present moment, there was no space left for confusion or pain, only silence, only calm. He bowed deeply before the wise man and whispered, "Thank you, grandfather. I understand now. If I wish to stay peaceful, I must keep my mind here in this very moment." The old man smiled gently, and for the first time, Marco's heart felt light. As the sun began to set, the sky turned golden. Birds were flying home, and the wind carried a quiet stillness through the valley. Marco started his walk back down the mountain. But this time, he was not the same young man who had arrived full of worry and noise. He was different, calm, clear, and free. For the first time, Marco felt the beauty of now. He had emptied his mind of fear and filled it with peace. And that was the beginning of a new life within him. So, take a moment today to look within yourself. You do not need to chase peace. You only need to return to it. When your thoughts wander to the past or rush toward the future, gently bring them back to this moment. Because peace is not found in silence outside, but in stillness inside. Let your heart breathe. Let your mind rest. And you will see life becomes lighter, calmer, and more beautiful. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need peace today. And if you wish to hear more stories that inspire calm and strength within, please like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel